Sahana bhavatu sahanau bhunaktu sah viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So you remember the various methods of reflection which we have studied. These are nothing but the natural tendencies of your mind. I mean, everybody's mind will think like that. When you apply conscious effort in doing that, it gets called reflection, or it gets called intellectual application. Otherwise, the mind, by its own nature, will do silly stuff. I mean, will do exactly these things. There is no difference really in that ability that each one of these, every one of these, all of us do all the time. Now, that part of it which is consciously directed becomes reflection. Like, for instance, a question. So you take question. Now, questioning in the right way, in the right manner, in the appropriate way, for the appropriate purpose, all this is reflection. Questioning in the wrong manner is known as what would you call it?
Kudarka. Kudarka.
Sorry?
Kudarka.
Can't hear you.
Kudarka.
Kutark.
Kutarka. Oh, kutarka. Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Okay. Right. Correct. What else?
Mental wandering.
May or may not be.
Undigested thought.
Questioning. You're just doing the questioning one. What you all are saying is generally applicable to all. But, excuse me. I'm saying specifically, your mind does this questioning. Everybody's mind does it. It is just the way we function. All of these are the way we function. But learning reflection means learning to do them properly. So when you do it correctly, then you ask in the right time, in the right place, for the right reason. All of that becomes questioning. If you do it in the wrong manner, it will become
Janshi, what exactly is wrong questioning or doing it in the wrong manner?
That's what I'm asking you.
Unconscious thinking.
Remember questioning. You all are giving general. You all are right. All of you have been right, but it's general. It's specifically. When you question incorrectly, when your mind does it, instead of your intellect doing it, what will happen? I mean, obviously, you don't call it questioning in that context. You call it questioning only like this. So, but that same mental ability, when you use incorrectly, it will be called
Debate. You're debating.
Sorry?
Debate.
Argument.
Okay, you're all getting closer. Then it goes to the other side. Then it goes into things like suspicion. Like no matter what anyone tells you, you're suspicious about it. It goes into indecision. You question everything. Can't function one day. So it goes to the other side. It's actually fights, suspicious, contradictions. Yes, correct. Unnecessarily asking questions, silly questions, unnecessary questions, filling your mind with useless waste of time. But then you become suspicious. You can't trust anybody. You can't take a decision. You become indecisive. All of this because you question that ability of questioning. You're using in the wrong way. So suppose you are a linear thinker. That's a very good thing. When your intellect does it, when your mind does it, you become one word now.
Is it involvement?
The involvement is generally true.
Dogmatic.
Okay, correct. Okay, dogmatic is close. It will become something like, mechanical, routine, set. You can't move from there because you're so linear in everything that you say or do. If you lateral thinking is learning to think out of the box. When your intellect does it, you'll come up with creative solutions. When your mind does it,
Stuck in a rut, going around in circles.
no, lateral thinking.
Oh.
You're saying stuck in a rut because you're thinking straight will come under linear. Linear. You can't think of any options. You're just stuck somewhere because you just can't think of anything other than going in that straight line that you're used to.
Wrong conclusion, the wrong, incorrect.
Conditioned thinking. You're conditioned in
That will
certain.
be in linear. I'm saying when you're out of the box.
Okay.
When if you're linear, you'll be in the box. Reshma, fickle, okay, yes, correct. So you think about it. Your mind is doing it. Your intellect is not doing it.
On.
Then you'll be distracted, incapable of sticking to the point, because you're going all over the place. Like you'll see in class also, people will ask questions. The topic is going on about thinking clearly. Then suddenly they wake up and ask something about reincarnation. But why is your mind going to reincarnation? You're thinking about thinking clearly. So the point I'm trying to make is that this way that your thoughts function, this is how everybody's thoughts function. It's not like something you have to learn over here. In fact, very sad part is in Vedanta, you don't have to learn anything. Everything you already know. Now, the problem here is when you do it incorrectly, then it goes down a wrong trail. And when you do it correctly, disciplined, in the right way, at the right time, for the right reason, all of that properly, it becomes reflection.
Sankichi, would it be correct to say that when we do the thinking, as you were saying, somewhat randomly, somewhat unconsciously, etc., that would be thinking by default. But when you think by design, which is intellect channelized, then it becomes reflection.
That's right. So all I'm now trying to say is that we think like this anyway. All these methods, anyway, we are doing. But we're doing them in the wrong place, in the wrong time, in the wrong manner. Something is going wrong there. But yes, if you do it the right way, then you're doing reflection. If you do the wrong way, then your mind is simply running helter-skelter. So each one is like that, right?
Sorry,
Okay.
Chanti. So what was the word for it that we were looking for? When we do it the wrong way. When we do it the wrong way, when mind does it, what was the answer to it?
We did each one, no? When you do questioning the wrong way, what does it become? Nobody listened.
No, you just talked about doubting, suspicion, contradiction, etc.
Indecision.
Yes. indecision, suspicion, all of this. You're questioning quite unnecessarily, right? Then which is the next one? We did linear thinking. So in linear thinking, what is the wrong way?
Dogmatic, fanatic.
Mechanical, repetitive. So going in the straight line, whatever. And which is the next one? We did lateral thinking. If you do lateral thinking in the wrong way, what happens?
Fickle, distracted.
Distracted, can't focus, cannot concentrate. So each one, that same ability is used incorrectly, and then you give it all these other terminologies. Is that clear, Bharat?
Yes. Thank you.
Is it that the mind is doing the wrong thinking, or is it the intellect that's not strong enough?
They're both the same thing. It's, you see, sometimes because we keep saying mind and intellect, mentally we have this assumption that there are two things. There are no two things. When a thought goes in a particular way, it's called mind. And when it goes in another way, it's called intellect. So since it's going in the way of the mind, you can say that the mind is strong, or you can say that the intellect is weak because it's not going in the other way. They both mean the same thing.
Mean the lack of clarity just means a heightened sense of...
Yes, if the clarity is missing, the opposite of clarity being missing is the mind is having a field day.
Okay.
Only problem you may have is because we've often said it's not the strength of the intellect, strength. Is that what you're getting confused? That is not the strength of the intellect, but the strength of the desire, but the weakness of the intellect. Is that what's confusing you?
No, I mean, I thought there are like different thought patterns to begin with. So like, since we do the analogy of, like all our birds, a chicken is also a bird, pigeon is also a bird, but they fly at different levels. Like I was thinking more in that way. It's like, like it's not being able to analyze it properly, like making the right generalizations, but it's still being done by an intellect. It is just not, it's just a weak intellect.
Okay, so that's a slightly different point. That is, you are not able, if your intellect is weak, you are doing the generalization properly, but it's not capable of doing. Okay, let's say that you are doing a right generalization in your PhD now, but you are not doing the kind of generalization that a Newton would do. Like he put all movement into 3 laws. So that is the difference, like that. But both are using rational process.
So it will be it will be true in a limited sense.
Yes, it will be less pervasive.
Less pervasive. Okay. And the subtler, the stronger our intellect gets, the more pervasive the principle or whatever we are analyzing becomes.
To apply.
Okay.
But this is different from the mind just using it wrongly. It is a nature, right, for us to question, for instance. So now stupidly you're questioning, then it's mind. Who told you? How do you know? Why should I believe you? It's foolishly you're questioning. You're not saying, okay, what is the point? Let us deal with the point. I don't know if you have good intentions. I mean, never mind my intentions. You understand the point. So it's a foolish question, senseless question, which is differentiated from correct questioning, but not high-level questioning.
Got it. Thank you.
It's very interesting to understand that the mind and the intellect is really the same thing. Same thing means that the same tendencies with it. And every human being has these tendencies. Now, the big question in life is, can you direct those tendencies properly or not? Like, not just in thinking, it is in everything. Everybody's aspirational. Everybody wants something more. But what do you want more? Do you want more another's downfall? Do you want more wealth? Do you want more wisdom? The tendency of wanting more is common. The difference is, what are you wanting more? Having wanted more, how are you directing your actions towards it? You just want more, or you understand the causal relationship between what you do and what you get? So the basics are the same across the board for everybody. Now, what are we doing with them is the question. Right. So, broadly speaking, human tendency.
Just a question about the point. So, the mind and intellect both like are moved towards something. It is just that the mind just irrationally wants it, and the intellect like has is as an ambition or a goal. So it's like the driving force is the same, but the way we go about it is different. Was that the point?
Not driving force. The way we go about it is different.
The way we go about it is different.
Driving force, okay. Driving force is same.
Mechanism, I guess. Yeah, driving mechanism.
Yeah, so driving force is vasanas. Now, okay, the vasanas are manifesting. Now, what are you doing it irrationally, or are you doing it rationally? What is the way you're conducting yourself?
Okay, so the way we conduct ourselves is like in mind-led or intellect-led. That's how it matches.
And of course, as you have already said, intellect-led is all in various degrees. Just like mind-led is in various degrees. Right? So from impulsive to eccentric, they all the same thing, right?
Yes, yeah.
Degrees.
Just one question. Is the tendency to want more is very natural in all of us? It depends on we want it for ourselves and or for others.
No, the lowest is you want more of another's downfall, or you want more wealth. You want to be richer, or you want wisdom. So tamasic is you want another's downfall. Some people are not interested in growing. They just want other people to come down. That's all they are interested in. Okay, that's the lowest category. Then some people are not interested in the others. They only want to go up themselves. Okay, that's the rajasic quality. And sattvic quality is you're seeking clarity, wisdom, purification. You want more of that. But the wanting more is same, no, for all of us.
So what you want depends on, is it mind-led or intellect-led?
No, what you want is your personality, your vasanas.
Right.
Now, what are you doing about it? Are you going to go about it rationally or irrationally? Like, for instance, what is this? What was his name? I forgot. He was so famous. That chap who brought down World Trade Center. Huh?
Osama.
Osama. How did I forget his name? So Osama, he wants to bring down America. Okay, he goes about it very rationally. With minimum of his own loss, he has managed to do maximum loss for them. But he's done it rationally. Right? Take Adani. He wants to make money, let us say, for himself. I don't know Adani and I don't know Advani. I wish I did, but I don't know them. But let us say that they are making money for themselves. Let us say, for argument's sake. And also Osama, for argument's sake. And then there is, I don't know, Ramana Maharishi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Before they were realized, they were seeking more purification, more. So each one has his own whatever vasana he has, or whichever one. But when it manifests, how is it manifest? Osama does it rationally. Adani, as far as Advani, they seem to be doing it rationally because they're achieving whatever they want to achieve. And of course, Ramana Maharishi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or any of these people, they did theirs rationally. Why do we say that? Because whatever they work for, they all have obtained. I mean, it's not necessary that if you fail, you're not working rationally, but largely if you work rationally, the success is the highest probability.
Thank you.
So all you, Bhavna, you're saying something? You're muted. Are you muted? Because we can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can you all hear Bhavna?
No.
Then nobody can hear you, Bhavna. I do not know why. You
Check your microphone, probably there's probably something wrong there.
She can put it on chat.
Bhavna. How do we know we're thinking in the right direction? How will you know, Bhavna? Only you can tell whether you're thinking in the right direction. Only your intellect can tell. Otherwise, who is to pass this judgment on you? Who is supposed to tell you you're thinking right or wrong? You are your own boss. You are the managing director of your life. Now the question is, what is it you want? Have you made a plan of action to reach that? And are you able to execute it? If these three things are there, then you will achieve whatever you want. Now, thinking right or not, only you're going to know. Nobody in this world but you is going to know whether it's right or wrong. Nobody can tell you that. But you can do the best you can and be clear about where you're going, be clear about how you're going there, and you're executing the necessary action. And usually you can check whether you are achieving whatever it is. Like suppose you say, what am I trying to do now? So I'm trying to get my degree. Okay, so what is my plan of action to get my degree? And am I following that plan of action? Or I'm doing this degree, I don't know why I'm doing this degree. Then what I need to know is what do I want to do if I don't want to do this degree? Whichever, I'm not suggesting you do whatever you're doing or don't do what you're doing. I'm not making any suggestion, just saying that you know what you want, you know why you're doing it, and you know what are the actions required, and you're doing those actions. And if degree is what you want, and you know what you're doing for it, and you're getting good marks, then you're in a good place. But if you don't know what you want to do, you don't know what are the actions for it, so obviously you're not doing anything, then yeah, something's going wrong somewhere. Okay. And same thing will work even after college when you go to work or you decide what work to take or anything. So we're trying to set up Vedanta University. I don't know why I call it university, because university is a very long way off. We are trying to set up, let us say, Vedanta Institute for the moment, okay? So what is our step? We have to buy land, we have to put up a building, and we have to start courses. That is our immediate course. And then align quickly with some university, which is the easy part. And then start, let us say, a PhD program to begin. Just so that we get going. Suppose we do all this. Okay, now we've got, you all know probably, we got 75% of the money we require for the purchase of the land. Okay, and in the next few months, hopefully, we should get it. So now the question, so if you are seeing that you have a clear purpose, you have a clear plan of action, that plan of action is working, it's going in the direction you want, you can be reasonably sure that what you're doing is the correct thing. Now, somebody may say, it's not a good idea to put up Vedanta University. That's their problem, not my problem. So nobody in the world can tell us whether we're doing the right thing or not. All we can do is, am I going in the direction I wish to go? Because so many people I meet, they say, oh, what a silly thing you are doing. Some people say, what a wonderful thing you're doing. Now, who shall I follow? In English, they say, who is this Daniel come to judgment who will tell us? Nobody can tell us. Your conscience will tell you. This idea is both liberating and scary. Yeah. Welcome to adulthood, Deepraj. When you are young, your parents will tell you, ye karna hai, ye karna nahi hai. And then when you grow up now, who's going to tell you? Nobody can tell you anything. And that's why, when, as the children grow up, you find they're always advising their parents because it is the natural tendency of growing up. So same thing. When you start advising your parents, what are you doing?
Nagging them.
So what are you doing in the context of what we were speaking earlier?
Oh, you're telling them what is right and what is wrong.
You are using that tendency incorrectly. The mind is taking over.
The questioning tendency?
No. The same, all these tendencies are there in us. See, as a child grows up, the child wants to assert its individuality. This is natural. When you do it correctly, you fix your plans, your goals, your ambitions, or whatever it is you want to do. When you do it incorrectly, you start telling your parents what to do and everybody else what to do. 9 out of 10 children nowadays, it's become a hobby amongst children. I find more children are advising their parents than parents are advising their children. And parents are like lost it. They can't deal with these children only. So, when you use that tendency correctly, you become an achiever. When you don't use that tendency correctly, you feel I know everything and now I have to tell everybody how they have to live their lives. See, even if a person is taking a wrong decision and spoiling his life, we have to admit that is his right. He has the right to do that. We cannot stop it. Because if you say that I have the right to stop you if you're doing something wrong, then somebody has to have that right over me as well, no? That right we are not willing to give anyone. Then how are we taking that right? And who is to decide right or wrong? We'll have to decide, all of us, each one for ourselves. Are you okay, Bhavna? Did you find it absolutely useless asking this question? No point, because you never get an answer anyway. Pravesh, you have an answer question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, rational thinking can be related to fulfilling the desire in a wrong way or in a right way. Means in both ways, it can be rational thinking.
Yes and no. It is not about fulfilling a desire in the wrong way will be mine, because then you're just going for something without having considered what's the point of it. How shall I put it? If you go about it the right way, in a rational way, means you have a goal, you have a plan of action, and you execute that plan of action. And you do a fairly frequent, not very frequent, review that you are going in the direction you have set yourself. This is a rational thing. Then this you can apply towards bringing down the World Trade Towers. You can apply it towards becoming a billionaire, or you can apply it towards achieving moksha. So you can apply this capacity which you have to any goal that you have.
Not means for the same goal, like someone want to achieve good marks in the examination, then that person do hard work, and other option can be someone cheated someone else. In the both ways are rational.
Yeah, rational if the cheating has a plan, a program, a proper execution of action, not like impulsively cheating, getting caught and getting rusticated, then no. But you have worked it out. So that means you've got a good criminal mind. There are classes of criminals also, no? There'll be criminals who are so bad that they get caught no matter what they do. There are criminals who are very good criminals. They don't get caught.
Rational thinking means proper execution of an action plan.
Yeah, properly. You have a goal. You have figured out how you have to get to that goal, and you have done the thing necessary. Suppose you have decided, I want to rob a bank. Okay, so then you have to figure out how you're going to do all this, and you did everything, and then you made a tunnel under the bank or whatever it is. You figured out. You put yourself through difficulties. You made that tunnel. You dug with whatever. You got all this thing done. Now it's the last day. Now you're going to that place wherever that tunnel starts from, and on the way you meet a person who says, come with me to the pub. Let's go have a drink. Okay, so a rational person will continue and go to that tunnel he has dug and not go with this chap to have a drink. So he's being rational. He's using his head. Or even if a lady comes to him and says, oh, protect me, I need this money very quickly, whatever. And she's genuine, he knows it's genuine, but she's stopping him from going. He has to go and do that tunnel in the middle of the night. No, he can't, in the morning, he can't be there. So he has to go at a particular time. So he has to say, no, I cannot help you now. All this will be rational. But, like, remember Deepraj gave us the example. A chicken flies, a pigeon flies, an eagle flies. The different degrees of this. So the lowest category will apply it towards negative ends. Better category will apply it towards personal ends. And the best category will apply it for universal ends.
One more question. As Bhavna were asking about how we will get to know that we are in the right direction. Can be kind of assessment from where we will get to know the right direction?
Yeah, through knowledge. When you have the right knowledge, you understand that if I do X, Y, and Z, then ABC is going to happen. I want ABC to happen, so I'm doing X, Y, Z. I feel so that this ABC should be a desirable goal, should be something worth aspiring for, is what knowledge tells you. Because you know what are the consequences. What happens if you have negative goals? What happens if you have personal goals? What happens if you have universal goals? You know the consequences. So if you know the consequences, you will choose wisely.
Thank you.
Deepak Sethi?
Yeah. Going back to, Bhavna's question, can we find out how well are we thinking? And you gave the 4 gradations: goal, having a plan, and then executing it. So I'm saying that at least for the second one, figuring it out, you can, make a judgment or an assessment whether you're thinking clearly, provided you can justify your plan of action basis correct causality, i.e., going by 3rd chapter, if your facts are right and you use the logic correctly, then you can say that I am thinking correctly, I am thinking right. And if it falls in either of these two, then you're not thinking clearly. In terms of if your facts are not right.
Okay, you don't do either of these. That's what you're saying.
Sorry?
You're saying if you don't do either of these, that means you're not thinking correct.
And if you get them wrong, if you get them either of them wrong, then you can make out that you're not thinking correctly. Or I can also listen to somebody and say whether if the facts are wrong or if the logic being used is wrong, then I can comment on whether the other person is thinking clearly or not.
Okay, so what am I supposed to comment on? I'm not clear.
No. So I'm commenting that Bhavna's question, how do I know whether I'm thinking correctly? Is there a way to know? There is an answer to it, and I've just given the answer. So you could comment on the answer, because you had started by saying, no, only you know, nobody else will know. And I'm saying that in this context, what you know, the way you will evaluate it is basis the 2 yardsticks that I've said, that you got your facts right and you're using the correct logic around them.
Yeah, I mean, others will not know insofar as, okay, taking the example of the building the university, the Vedanta University. Some people feel that it should be built. Some people feel that that's a crazy idea. Firstly, the idea is crazy, and second, you're never going to achieve this. Right? Now, who is right? Who is wrong?
Yeah.
Only the end result will show us, right?
Sure.
So now you're saying, no, I can tell you because I can hear your logic, I can hear your facts, and I can decide. So that also is not really true, because firstly, all facts are not always available. And secondly, how people look at those facts also is debatable. Like, for instance, suppose we take this back to Mahatma Gandhi. Here is Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He has just finished his barristership. He's become barrister Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, which was the highest education of his time. Then he makes his way to South Africa. In South Africa, instead of doing his barristergiri, he starts caring about being thrown out of railway compartments and all that. Now he comes to you and he says, you know what, I'm dedicating my life to this. You will say to him, I will say to him, all of us will say to him, Pagal ho gaye ho kya? You have just finished being a barrister. You are going to do this. Who's going to feed you? Where are you going to get this stuff from? We will have 100 rational questions to him. And we will be right from our perspective, of course. But the thing is, that's what the guy is doing. And eventually, either he was proved right or he was proved wrong. There is no way you're going to stop him anyway.
That point is very well taken. And my comment was not in that section of thinking clearly. That is, like you said, even the Vedanta University, whether it's your mission and it's your passion, whether somebody says it's a good idea or a bad idea, who are they to say? Because, it's because you only know the facts, you only know, because it's very personalized. It's your vasana, which is it, etc. But I'm saying that in many cases, now you've decided to go and form the university and you say, this is my plan of action. Then at that stage, which is the second stage of figuring out, have you figured it out correctly? There I have a better chance, not again 100%, because like you said, all facts may not be known, but subject to, available facts and the way you explain, I can kind of then comment on it, saying whether you're thinking correctly or not, basis whether the facts you have used to develop your plan and the logic that you have used and the cause-effect linkages that you have used are correct. Then one will say, yes, I think you are correctly. You're going about it correctly.
It doesn't work like that, because in my own example of this university, I've heard so many logical, so many rational people who are achievers in life tell me why this cannot be done. Okay, the most day before yesterday's, I said, okay, I told somebody we are 60 lakhs away from our goal, and to buy the plot of land. And he's a finance person, so he told me why everything I'm saying is wrong. Okay, and he's right, because he's already done it. He's been the head of finance companies. He's made lots of money. When he says something, the whole city trusts him. Everybody, I'm not mentioning his name, But many people in the city, if I said that, so and so told me this is a terrible idea, they will back off. They will say, oh, he's also saying this. Okay. The next day, absolutely next day, from him telling me that no, this is not possible. Next day, somebody gave a major donation and made us jump, like fairly forward. Now, sorry?
Yeah, bravo.
Yeah, that was good. That was really nice. But the point I'm trying to make is, when that person is giving me his analysis, he's so right. And yet he is wrong. Because the higher the ideal you work for, the more forces start playing. He told me, see, you are asking for this figure. It's never going to come to you. Nobody's going to listen to you because you're not telling me, if I give you this kind of money, what am I getting? I said, you're getting nothing.
Nothing.
You're getting nothing. So he's saying,
and you have to give on that basis.
Off.
You have to give on that basis.
You have to give on that basis.
Right.
He says, then I switch off. I'm not good to switch off. But the point is, his point is not whether he will give or not. Bichara, he did give some small amount. But the thing is, he believes that unless we can tell people what they are going to get out of it, nobody's going to give us a cent. And he's right. If you go out and ask for money from people and say, I'm giving you nothing in exchange, who's going to give it? Right? Any shopkeeper goes and comes to you and says, Deepak ji, please give me some money. You'll say, okay, I'll give you money, but what are you giving me in exchange? He says, I'm giving you nothing. So why should I give you money? It's rational. It's correct. It is reasonable to assume that somebody will behave like that. But we know that that's not how not only the donors have behaved, but the 60, 70 people who worked on this whole thing. I mean, not just getting donations, but the whole thing. Whole lot of it is done by people who are getting nothing in exchange. So when I said these facts are unknown to us, then when you're running a business and you want profit, you are working with a certain gradation of ideas. And within that, your rationality functions. But as you raise this, factors beyond our comprehension start taking place. You know how they say God's gift, and it just becomes like, so if you go and tell somebody, yeah, I want the money, and how do you think you're going to get it? Well, I'm expecting a miracle. They'll say, you're mad, you're completely mad. You see, that doesn't mean we don't work hard. We work extremely hard, but we know that there are so many things because of which it may happen, and so many things because of which it may not happen. For instance, suppose, well, I drop dead tomorrow, then what? So these facts are not predictable. That's why when you're saying that if I knew the plan and I would know the logic, whether it's going there or not, there are way too many
imponderables.
Too many. That doesn't mean you don't do the rational process. So I'm not arguing for, just go through for it.
So that was my comment, that anything that you say, if it is rationally not fitting in, you can put your point of view across to say you're thinking clearly or not. Now, some imponderable may happen, even though you say it will happen because everything is right. Some imponderable may happen. All that is taken for granted, that these things will happen. It's ceteris paribus, that everything going like that, your logic is correct, your facts are correct, and that kind of a thing. So it was in that limited context that I was saying, because look at the counterpoint of it. If you say, look, only you know that what you are doing is right, then it's a little bit scary, because I'm doing something. Nobody can tell me whether I'm doing it correct. Even I can't tell myself very easily whether it's correct or not correct. Then in that sense, I am not in control. And in fact, the first part of the HYK, WYK is that the whole idea is to be in control, because you do your thinking and you make your choices based on this kind of clear thinking, So I'm saying the contra part of saying that, no, you can't make out, because what you are saying has a lot of merit, that there are cases, not only cases, I mean, say there are things which cannot be commented beyond a point. But I'm saying there is a lot of available window in which you can look at it to see you're going wrong for sure. Now, whether you will make it or not because of imponderables, you can't still predict. But if you're doing it wrong and blatantly there is a fact that's wrong, you calculated the land price at X rupees per acre, but in that area it is now 5X per acre, then one can say, sorry, so I'm saying, so one has to look at that comment that within limitations, you can and therefore should apply the rational process.
Yeah. So when you add the term within limitations, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah. No, that point is totally
within limitations, because you can't tell. Now, the biggest thing nobody can tell is anybody other than you is whether you're striving for a goal worthy of being achieved. That nobody can tell, and
that is only your authentic conscience can tell you, because you could also be.
Of course. Yeah. So if you are not taking the responsibility on your shoulders or working this out for yourself, then nobody is going to be able to tell you. Because even if they do tell you, you're not going to be listening. So you are where you are. So, then we complete a full circle. So again, I'm holding my answer to Bhavna, which is that, suppose a child wants to go take drugs. The child is never going to go and ask his parents, shall I go and take drugs? When you have decided to do something, you will seek advice from people who will give you that advice. So you have to somehow force yourself to take the responsibility of making the right choice. And when you take that responsibility, that wakes you up. That's when you start feeling, both of you have used this word, scary. It's scary. It is scary. Okay. It is. Be scared, because you do the action and you get the fruit. So be scared. So yes, in answer, yes. In the limited function, yes, of course you can do that.
Yeah.
But eventually the buck stops here. Eventually.
No, that's very fair. A lot of merit in that part. Actually, the two things together will make the complete answer.
That's
because this by itself is not complete, and yeah.
Okay, so now shall we proceed? Right, so where were we? Now we have to learn about applying. We did how you reflect. You are in Abhiva. The thought is all over the place. When you reflect, it comes out as a proper figure. It comes out as clarity. Okay, and that's the eureka moment when you just get it. Now, applying caution in reflection. Now, reflection, you have to be very careful when you do it. There are many, many wrong things we can do. We covered some of it, of course, but we'll do it properly now. We all think a lot. Thoughts racing through our heads in brave thoughts are racing through our heads in brave combat with the speed of light. Fast. Hence, mindfulness is recommended as a quality to be cultivated. Now, mindfulness in the English language means that your mind is available. That means your intellect is available. That's why mindfulness is in inverted commas. Hence, mindfulness is recommended as a quality to be cultivated. That means you're able to stay in the present moment. Your intellect is able to keep the mind in the present moment. Internal silence is considered a virtue. Our thoughts are racing so much that very few of us find internal silence. Just quiet with it. No, but nothing is going on. It's just quiet. And you're aware of that silence with them. As the speed of thinking goes up, we get more agitated and take worse and worse decisions and actions. Because when these thoughts are going fast, just going down, they're hitting at you. You're extremely agitated, and then your decision is bad and your action is even worse. Give me an example of when this happens.
You get angry at somebody and you keep thinking negative thoughts, and then you lash out.
And then you lash out, correct. Road rage is a good example. Yeah, the thoughts build up such speed. And can you be in road rage and have internal silence? Not possible, right? So your thoughts are built up so much, you take a bad decision, I'm going to stop this car, and take a bad action that you go punch that fellow. The decision is wrong, and obviously the action following it is wrong, right? So when the speed of thoughts is very fast, your mind is agitated, decisions and actions become very bad. Thought is meant to direct action, not substitute it. Better thought should enable better action. This is a lot of problems that happen. So what happens is when your thoughts go very, very fast, have you noticed when your thoughts are moving very fast, you can't even say the sentence completely because your thoughts are moving so fast. So many people, they write a letter and nobody can understand what that letter is saying because their thoughts move so fast that it's gibberish what they have written. So thought is meant to direct action, not substitute it. So your thought should have directed how that letter is written, not the thoughts is going on and then the action is gone really bad. So what is the point of thought? Better thought should enable better action. So what are we doing in classes such as this? We are improving the quality of our thoughts, and what should be the consequence of it is that the action improves. Given below are some of the points to be kept in mind while reflecting. These things are best avoided during reflection. Okay, so when you're reflecting, you must know these are the things that we are not supposed to be doing. Number one, overanalysis. Elaborate and tedious analysis, deep diving into things where there is no necessity. One way of preventing this is to see the big picture. Attempting a synthesis of thought might help. When you find yourself overthinking something, take a step back and try to use your synthetical thinking abilities, like seeing the big picture, seeing the total picture, instead of going, more and more and more into the nitty-gritty, because this is the way you offset it. Overanalysis is usually an indication of the reflection exceeding the capacity of the intellect, of thinking where one is not capable of thinking. This is something that very few of us seem to recognize in ourselves, that when we start thinking in areas where we don't have the capacity, we do this overanalysis. That is why a lot of times in Vedanta also, you will find a lot of overthinking, a lot of overanalysis, because you're stretching to think in an area where the intellect currently doesn't have that ability. So it is always good to stay grounded. See the big picture, stay grounded, think always in terms of, if you find yourself doing that, the opposite is doing synthesis, putting it together rather than going on and going deeper and deeper. Okay, this one clear? Any questions?
What's the difference between, the whole reflection process to improve your intellect? So this is like doing it too much, like sharpening the sword to the point that the metal starts to chip. The metal starts to degrade or something like that.
Oh no, it is blunting the sword. See, what happens is sometimes people just go on analyzing. It's tedious. Tedious to a point, and you ask yourself, why am I doing this? Sometimes it is to avoid action or avoid decision. Just tedious. Like suppose you're deciding, should I get married? 25 years I'm deciding, should I get married? Decide no once and for all. Now you're 75, you're still deciding to, should I get married? When will you decide? So, no, you're just using it to avoid a decision. And then you go into some kind of nitty-gritty which is totally irrelevant. So you're not reflecting at all. This is what you have to avoid doing. When you start doing this, reflection has stopped. This is the mind getting involved.
Got it. Thank
you. Deepak Sethi?
Haji, clarification on the second paragraph of what you just read, under the section applying caution in reflection. Now, you said as the speed of thinking goes up, in fact, we get more agitated. Its speed is agitation, and it's the other way around also. When you get agitated, then your speed of thought also goes up. Would that be correct to say?
Yes. They feed each other. Yeah.
They feed each other. Okay. The second one is, you said thought is meant to direct action, not substitute it. So what is meant by thought substituting action?
Because if this is a good example, what we just did, you analyze so much, you don't end up doing anything. So you have used your thinking capacities to act. What you really did was avoided taking a decision. So you're substituting. Or some people just feel, Swamiji used to talk about people in the ashram, in this previous one, that people will sit under the tree and you say, what are you doing? I'm thinking about Atman. The ashram has to run. You please get up and you do what you need to do. No, we are thinking about Atman. In fact, there was a boy in the academy also. He was very disinclined from karma. He used to hate doing karma. So during the karma yoga time, he would sit in his balcony and we are all scuttling around doing whatever we have to do. And he would be sitting in the balcony. So we would look up and say, what are you doing over there? Come down. He says, I'm sitting in the balcony of truth, watching actions, perceptions, actions, emotions, and thoughts go by. Now, this is substituting, like using all. I mean, he was, of course, kidding, but what are you doing? I can't come and help you. Now Bhavna's mother is calling her, Chalo, aajao, help me over here, help me make lunch. She says, no, mommy, I can't come. Main meditation mein hu. So, and so things like that. You're using all your thinking is to avoid this.
Yeah. I think over-analysis is a very good example of it becoming the substitute. Yeah. Thank you.
Then second one is wrong analysis. Samuel Johnson gives an example of a person who claimed there was no land for cultivation. 70% of the earth, he said, is oceans. 25% has land which cannot be cultivated, like deserts and mountains. The 5% left is covered by cities and other man-made things. Where can land be cultivated? So you see, he's come to a logical conclusion which is completely wrong. So if this was true, then there should be no cultivation. But there is cultivation, otherwise we would all be dead, right? If there was no farming at all. One way of getting out of this type of erroneous thinking is checking it with ground reality. Is it true that there is no cultivation? Or use it to make a prediction. If there was no cultivation, there would be no food in the market. Is this true? So wrong analysis. It seems very logical when you say it, but actually it's completely wrong. And how do you do it? You match it with ground realities. Is it so? Is it really what the facts are? And therefore, of course, we must quote the great Feynman again. Remember Feynman? What was his quote? Have to always quote the great Feynman. Maybe I never remember what page it's on. Who remembers what page it's on? Page 37. To paraphrase the physicist Richard Feynman, if your conclusions contradict common sense, then so much for common sense. If they conflict with received philosophical opinion, then too bad for received opinion. But if they deny the very facts of our experience, then you must consign your conclusions to your claims. It has to fit the facts. Whatever else it fits or doesn't fit doesn't matter.
Sorry, Janki said, then you must confine your conclusions to
the flames. Then it's been that conclusion. If it doesn't deal with the ground reality, if it's not explaining the ground reality, it doesn't agree with the ground reality. You say, oh, some great sage said it's so, maybe so. Some other thing, maybe so. You can contradict anything in this world, but you cannot contradict the ground reality. Okay, so good point to stop at today. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you, Janki ji. Thank you, Janki ji.
Okay, just one quick thing to complete because it is in context. So this is the classic case where if somebody said that, you can comment to say, no, I'm sorry, your thinking is not correct. Like Samuel Johnson being told about this. And in this case, having said it is not correct, you can even figure out as to why it is not correct. Because these statistics are not using the same base. So when he says 70% is water, he's correct. That's of the total earth. But when he says 25% is non-cultivable and 5%, that figure is not of the total earth, but that is of the land that's available, right? So if you look at that, then 25 plus 5, 30% is not available. 70% of the earth mass, non-water mass, is still available for cultivation, which is where all the food is getting produced.
Yes, but now that you know it, the reason this argument is given because you know it, right? But the thing is, when you don't know it,
yeah,
how is someone supposed to tell you this?
No, the ground reality check is the very good thing. No, the ground reality check is very good. You do the ground reality. If it doesn't fit, then it means that there is something not correct. So you can then figure, and then you can figure out where the logic is going wrong.
Yeah, but this is the problem in life. No, if it was that easy, then where is it? We all have to take personal responsibility to ensure that we are doing it. You're not going to even listen to anyone telling you otherwise. This is the whole problem of life. Who's listening? Nobody's listening. And there's no point you telling because the person will give you other logic. Take your responsibility yourself. Because if you get it wrong, nobody can help you. Okay, Hari Om.
Okay, Hari Om. Thank you.
Thank you, Janki ji. After a long time, I joined your class.
Okay, welcome back.